became a crime for one fan to watch the Arizona basketball team play on the sucky Pac-12 network. Oh, what the hell? Let's just call it pickleball, but is it really a growing sport? And Melania Trump came, the media circus snapped photos, and yet the kids are still locked up in cages? These stories and more next on the 520. Well, welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Artie Mata the Fourth. Thanks for joining us.
Before we get started, man, what's up with the Royals? How did you become a KC Royals fan?
Authentic. It's authentic. You don't know.
You know how I can tell that's not authentic? Because that's a Bo Jackson jersey. Bo Jackson is an athlete, much bigger, much more muscular than you, and that is not authentic because you would not be able to fit in it if it was his jersey.
I mean, we could ask him.
Come on. All right, I'll give you props for wearing a throwback.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's get started. Well, here's one of these "are you kidding me" type of stories. Is he a die-hard Wildcat fan or a hardened criminal? We're talking about University of Arizona's apparent #1 fan besides me, 51-year-old Kevin Ayton. Prosecutors in Lake Delton, Wisconsin, want to put this Wildcats fan behind bars. They say he posed as an employee at Buffalo Phil's in order to add the sucky Pac-12 network to the restaurant's cable package just so he could watch Arizona basketball games. You know what I say before I hear what you have to say? I say Arizona right now should erect a statue right next to Lute Olson at McKell Center. And you know what?
At least give him a mural.
All the boring oldies who show up to McKell should have to touch the statue for inspiration before every home game. That's what I say.
Get a graffiti artist for him or something at the least. Dude, this guy, he'll go down as a legend till legends are diminished. At the very least, can we acknowledge that cable prices are ridiculously too high and he's just deciding not to pay $90 to $100 to watch his beloved Wildcats? We can't blame the guy.
I don't blame him, but I mean, think about this though. How incredible is that, that he just loves his Wildcats so much that he has to watch the team. And, you know, in his defense, though, he did say that an employee gave him the password so that he could call and upgrade the restaurant's cable package to include the Pac-12 network. But simple solution, all right? The guy's a car dealership finance manager. He can afford to just pay the difference. Prosecutors can just drop the charges, wipe it clean, and let's drop the drama. Not a big foul. No harm,
it's
no
not
foul,
supposed to be a big
no harm.
deal. But of course, it is stealing. We can't condone it vocally, but I will say,
I'm not condoning it.
The guy's one heck of a hot shot.
And no one said he really stole when he just kind of, you know, made a phone call.
Made a phone call.
Little poser, but.
More about terrible cable television. Is it too little, too late for the Pac-12 network to highlight the conference's athletic program during the summer when no one's even watching? Beginning July 5th, the Pac-12 network will begin to throw it back. Summer mixtape. Each of the conference's 12 universities will own a dedicated day of coverage filled with content and replay selected by the school. No, okay, we'll give it to him for a little bit.
Commissioner, Pac-12 Commissioner
Larry
Scott, for doing something, finally, that benefits the 12 teams within the conference, okay? But, slow your roll. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. In the middle of July, you're going to feature and promote all of your teams. Arizona gets its shot on Thursday, July 5th. I love the fact that besides myself, Kevin Ayton, somewhere, wherever he's at, is probably going to tune into the Pac-12 network. But who else is going to do that? No one.
I'm not.
In July? Are you kidding me? It's, once again, we've said this on the 520 before. I call for Pac-12 network commissioner Larry Scott to be fired. This is stupid in the month of July. If anyone's going to be watching this, maybe there's two people.
You and Kevin Ayton.
Yeah.
And what does that tell you? If the creative services of the Pac-12 network, this is their big break of their giant, grand, original content that they're about to publish, and this is the big airtime slot that they're able to fill. This is to them big airtime television. Who's making those decisions?
Larry Scott.
Who goes, that's a broad stroke on the entire Pac-12 network that they deem this as possible grand gold airtime.
And second of all, they're only promoting this on Facebook. So it's not like anyone knows about this. So it's really, in essence, it's a waste and a disservice to each of the universities within the Pac-12 conference. Because we didn't know about this until now, right?
I didn't. I tell you what.
Proves my point. All right, it's time now for Rapid Fire. I fire off a local sports topic. Artie gives a rapido response. Well, LeBron James is now a Laker. Will ex-Wildcat and Lakers head coach Luke Walton be able to coach the King?
No expense will be spared to sell tickets. No expense will be spared to win basketball games. It wouldn't surprise me after this roller coaster of an offseason.
I think LeBron calls all the shots, but I can't wait to see Luke Walton going up against Steve Kerr in the Western Conference. Great rivalry now. Well, his ex-Wildcat, Aaron Gordon, who had a breakout year with the Orlando Magic this past NBA season, really worth $84 million over 4 years.
Somebody on that organization has to be, and it's nobody on the coaching staff. If that money's not going to renovations, it could at least go to Aaron Gordon.
You know what? I'm glad the ex-Wildcat is getting paid cashola. Overall, though, Arizona NBA players have made over $1 billion playing in the NBA. Big league, baby. You got to give them props for that.
I'll take it.
Well, the University of Arizona's athletic program finished 51st in the Learfield Directors' Cup standings, which is its lowest finish ever. What does this say about this past tumultuous year for the University of Arizona?
It says it's going unrecognized. People don't even know that there's tumultuous years going on for this program. I'm not surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised yet again.
Well, that cups, the Learfield Cup, rates women's and men's sports and the success of both programs. And I really don't care. I really don't. Waste of time.
We'll move on.
Well, the U of A is trying to capitalize on World Cup fever and are promoting season ticket sales for Arizona soccer. Should we buy into it?
I work in sports, I cover sports, and I couldn't even name a single Arizona soccer player. Should we buy into it? If it's $30, hey, that's not a bad deal. But I tell you what, I don't really think there's any entertainment value in that.
I agree with you. At least they're promoting women's soccer as well.
Sure.
Gotta love that Title IX. Finally, Arizona. Well, there'll be no Ayton Ristich reunion after all. Ex-Wildcat Tucson Ristich has decided not to play for the Phoenix Suns Summer League team. Good move, bad move.
I'm all about 2020. I foresee that he'll be able to play in Europe soon. Is that a better decision than playing in the NBA? 2020 is always the best one.
Hey, it's better than playing in the G League.
Oh, anything's better than playing in the G League.
Well, Arizona Diamondbacks reliever Archie Bradley shared a story with Yahoo Sports about the time he pooped in his pants before going into the game. TMI?
Yes, of course it is, but that's not the worst story I've ever heard. I've heard of guys, throwing up entire buckets of fried chicken with their helmets on and it's getting all over their helmet. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. TMI, yeah, of course, don't tell me that. I don't want to know that.
Has it ever happened to you?
No.
Don't lie.
No.
Don't lie.
No.
I know it has.
Of course not. That doesn't even happen.
All right. Is pickleball really a growing and popular sport right here in Tucson? So what exactly is pickleball? Well, it's a sport with paddles, a wiffle ball, and a net, and you can play it at a few parks and recreation centers right here in town. It's a combination of tennis, racquetball, and table tennis played on a hardwood basketball court.
The lack of entertainment in Tucson, Arizona is forcing the elder demographic to act like 4-year-olds where they make up their own game and their own rules and they keep track of the score in the dirt.
You're going to diss these people
I'm dissing the city of Tucson. No, this is very creative. It's a fantastic
you
game.
Call them elderly. I would take them at McHale Center. I bet you they would stand up and cheer for the Wildcats.
They definitely would. Hey, but there's nothing else to do except go play pickleball.
I think it's great though. And the pickleball that I know growing up as a child was like baseball. You have two players playing catch, you had a runner in between, and you had to try and steal the base or get to the base before the other player tagged you out. That's a pickleball, I know. But you know what? I think this has a really good opportunity to get a lot of people involved. Why not?
Of course. I'll tell you what, I might take a swing at a few games here. It does look like fun.
So we're going to see you out there.
Yeah, well, I might not be in the Bo Jackson jersey, but I'll definitely be out there taking a few
I
hacks.
will take you on in pickleball, and I will show you, young blood, what that game is really about. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Table tennis, baby.
Up next, Melania Trump came. She created a media circus, and after all that, hundreds of kids are still locked in cages. Melania Trump met with Border Patrol officials in Tucson. She then toured a housing facility in Phoenix. Arizona's facilities are holding just over 1,600 immigrant children, including 328 who are separated from their parents at the border.
You know, Melania's trip to Tucson and to Phoenix, to me, in my opinion, amounted to the same political solution we hear after every school shooting when innocent children are shot and killed. Thoughts and prayers. It was empty. There was no bark. There was no bite. It was 100% a photo op. No substance, no solutions. And you know what? The kids are still locked up in cages. They manipulated the media. The media circus ran and fell for it. They only released pictures and video that they approved and they wanted so that they could paint a picture of these cages or these children in these facilities as though they're living in resort-like environments. And happy-go-lucky kids, oh my goodness, I'm so happy.
Take them to summer
My
camp.
mom, I have no idea where she's at. It was ridiculous.
It was propaganda.
Pathetic. Propaganda.
That's
Fake news.
what we'll call it.
That's what we should call it. Fake news on them.
Propaganda and fake news. I mean, I do think it's a little bit insulting to even at least the city of Tucson that the First Lady of the United States is being paraded around like Mariah Carey, like she's a famous pop star, and an appearance will simply be sufficient for this. There's no need for a solution for this. There's no want for a solution. This is their I tried. Hey, we took a shot at it. Let's see what we can do from here.
Worse though, she came as though she had a solution and she could not do anything. And it goes back to, she has no power. What are we doing wasting our time on this? The president, her husband, has the power to make immediate changes and make sure that every child is immediately reunited with their mother or their father. And it's still not happening. It's still not happening.
They'll take the photo ops, though.
They'll take the photo ops, but that's what's sad. That to me, it just angers me that not enough people in this country are caring about this issue. Why? Because these kids came across illegally. Some of them came here with their parents who were seeking asylum and were still separated from their parents. So what does that have to do with the child?
Absolutely nothing.
And punishing the child. It, to me, is disturbing. We need to put an end to it and stop the propaganda. All right. Let's jump right into Do We Care? As you know, we love to tackle community issues and not just sports and ask ourselves, do we care? Well, Tucson's housing market experienced a record increase in prices, pushing the median new home price above $300,000 for the first time ever. Do we care?
Yes, we're going to have to care at some point. Every market, I believe, of course, every market is always due for corrections, except for the Tucson housing market, which seems to only increase. We're spitting out stats like a $150,000 household in the Bay Area is now considered low income. When stuff like this happens, it is just, of course, only the beginning for what's about to come, and the working class will have to suffer.
Well, higher home prices and higher interest rates amount to $200 in total income loss per month. Talk about a trickle-down effect. That means families who are trying to get into these homes have less money to spend at the stores, less money to go out to the movies, less money to eat out. How does that affect the rest of the economy? Big time.
Terribly.
And then we're talking about the Federal Reserves, talking about higher or increasing interest rates at least 2 more times this year alone. It's ridiculous, especially in a community where you have more minimum wage jobs than any other type of job. Who can afford all of this?
I can't.
It's ridiculous because it puts all of the market prices on even rentals start to skyrocket. It's pathetic, man. It's ridiculous.
I agree. According to the University of Arizona, Tucson hasn't quite recovered all the jobs it lost during the recession of 2007 through 2009. The old Pueblo ranks near the bottom in the most economic categories when compared to other cities the same size.
I don't want to let city leaders off the hook on this, but I will give Rio Nuevo, the board, props for all the development that we've seen downtown, and give them props for at least bringing some of those jobs into Tucson, including Caterpillar. But for every success we seem to have, there's always a loss, like Tesla, you know, deciding to downgrade. Well, there's a lot of companies that are downgrading and downsizing right now that we're not hearing too much about. So when Raytheon announced a month and a half ago, they're bringing 2,000 more jobs, great. But where are the other high-paying jobs that we need to be able to afford $300,000 houses?
Of course.
It's ridiculous, man.
And what's ridiculous is this is just another example of corporations taking advantage of the underqualified and uneducated demographic of Tucson. Who's to fix this? The working class is to fix this.
Our city needs to help fix this, and deregulation would help a hell of a lot. All right, quickly. Border Patrol arrests fell sharply in June to about 34,000, down 16% from more than 40,000 in May. The drop could signal that President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance policy to criminally prosecute every adult who enters the country illegally is deterring illegal border crossings.
Militarizing a border will do that. Militarizing any border will make that happen. Are we surprised that something like this has spit out? It could be propaganda, but at the least, I think it is working. I think it's sad.
I call bull on this one. And the reason is because it seems like the Border Patrol and our federal government always manipulates the number of arrests with the narrative that they want to sell the country when it comes to border security.
Of course.
Do your homework and prove me wrong if you don't believe that I'm right on this one.
We'll
All right,
see it.
Here's another one I'm right on. Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. Well, let me start by saying, you don't have to agree with my opinion. I own it, not you. Still, I welcome you onto the 520 to debate me on any issue, on any topic, anytime. But you better believe you'll have your hands full trying to prove me wrong. Here's proof. I was flat out right last week when I showed you this photo. As you see here, it shows 5 tatted up MS-13 gangbangers. Conservative politicians are using this image to flip the narrative in an effort to excuse perhaps the biggest humanitarian disaster in U.S. history by associating these punk thugs with poor, innocent immigrant children locked in cages after being separated from their parents at the border. I also told you when President Trump purposely equates all immigrants as rapists, criminals, and animals, words and pictures are a powerful combination used throughout history to dehumanize a race of people. Here's proof. It's doing exactly what I said it would do. Stir fear, nurture racism against innocent Americans of Latino descent. Take a look.
Why do you hate us? Because we're Mexicans? We're honest people right here.
Yeah, rapists.
Rapists? How many people have I raped? How many drugs have I dealt? Huh? Oh yeah? Yeah. You believe everything you see on the news? Yeah. You see how we're working hard right here?
And that guy right there is an American citizen who works for a city department. Point proven. I rest my case. That's not making America great again. That's making America hate again. If that's what you stand for, I'll say it again. So much for being a God-loving, all-American patriot.
Well said, Steve. And of course, I'd have a bone to pick with sports. Eating crow is most likely Steve and I's least favorite daytime activity, but the more and more braver we become on this show, the more and more feathers we find in our mouths.
Not mine.
Now, last week, I retracted on my Ayton doesn't deserve #1 comments and began to talk about how he'll thrive in the Phoenix system and how I was wrong, but turns out I wasn't wrong. LA Bron with riders, the Empire of Golden State with riders, Houston stays competitive, Utah stays competitive. How does a puppy like Deandre Ayton plan on staying competitive? Booker plans, of course, staying with the Suns for a little while, he says in a recent report. How can Phoenix even fathom of rebuilding while being the punching bag of the NBA West? One addition of peaked in the NCAA Deandre Ayton will no longer be the missing link, even if he is a prodigy. How long will he enjoy losing in the desert before a team like Indiana, San Antonio, both great fits for him, decide to give him a phone call? He chased money one time and he'll decide to do it a second time. Of course, I was hopeful as a bumblebee at the time of the draft, but unlike my colleague here, Steve Nunez, I can be a realist when it comes to these Wildcats. Good luck to you this year, DA.
I may eat my script. I do not eat crow. You eat crow.
We have both been a victim.
I mean,
both been a victim.
That right there was eating crow. Diminishing Deandre Ayton like he's the weakest link. That is ridiculous.
It's not good enough anymore.
You should be eating
it's
stuff,
not
man.
good enough anymore. It's not good enough anymore.
He hasn't even played a single game in the NBA, and you're coming out with this crap?
We'll see. We will see come wintertime this NBA season. It was a great pick at the time of the NBA draft. It's not good enough anymore.
I'm going to tell you what.
They can't compete in the NBA West anymore.
Does not average 15 points and at least 10 rebounds in his rookie season, I will eat crow on this show. If he does, oh, I'm frying a crow for you. And baby, you are eating.
That's not even the
problem. You are eating your words.
He could score 30 points a game. He won't be able to stay competitive in the NBA West. That's my entire point. He won't enjoy the desert. He'll want it. Hightail it out of here as fast as he can.
Right now, so we're just going to move on. All right, before we go, take a look at this. World Cup fever, baby. Mexican fans carrying a South Korean after South Korea beat Germany 2-0, which led to Mexico advancing to the round of 16. Of course, Mexico went on to lose to Brazil. But you gotta love the passion.
Camaraderie,
awesome.
Brotherhood, Hispanic heritage at its finest. I'll take it.
I love that. That is one of my favorite videos I've seen in a while. Well, that does it for this episode of the 520. Our goal is to tell it like it is because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree.
Well, be sure to follow the 520 on Facebook and on Twitter at the 520 Tucson.
And if you have a topic you want us to cover, send us an email at the520@kvoa.com. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Marty Mata IV. Join us next week on the 520.
Go Wildcats.